The process of synthesizing trace materials will become much more convenient.
Okay.
Does that mean we can synthesize purple materials directly from green ones?
Yeah, that's right.
This eliminates some of the cumbersome extra steps.
Okay, that's a good update.
The build guide will also receive an update. In version 3.1, when you set a character as the build target, the Interastral Peace Handbook will display all the materials needed for building that character, along with shortcuts to relevant stages to farm those materials.
Also a good
After
update.
its preview ends, Trailblazers can even set newly revealed characters as their build target and start farming the necessary materials in advance.
Okay, that's huge. That's really nice.
Preparation's so much easier.
And it looks like we received a special announcement from the project team. Let's take a look.
大家好，我是崩坏系列 IP 烧鸡。
Narrative designer. Okay.
我们收到了来自开
We see lots of feedback and suggestions from our Trailblazers. From what we've seen, certain aspects of 3.0 didn't achieve the results we were aiming for.
以开拓任务为例，
Let's take the Trailblaze mission, for example. Sometimes you had to push the ball multiple times to open the door, or running around a lot to face Titan. Yes, this feeling of fatigue doesn't really fit the Honkai Star Rail's signature style. That's why we've been reviewing and optimizing main story experience, including both the current version 3.0 and all content moving forward. Good.
开发者电台提到的阅读体
Developer radio streamlines the text and optimizing puzzles. We will also be working on mission progress.
以 3.0 版本
Okay.
开拓者在前往过去的旋风城时，不再需要折返跑。
There's no need for backtracking. Good.
通过一条定节的道路就能。
Bro, I thought I was gonna lose my mind.
这里的玩法会被安排到主线外，成为开拓者自由探索的选项。当然，还有对白、演出、探索。
Performance and exploration elements.
结果，我们会在未来
For all future versions, we'll make more detailed improvements to every aspect, aiming to deliver better content to you all.
开拓者好，我是游戏设计 Punk。除了像刚才
Adding to what Shoji said, we're also making changes to 3.1 subsequent versions.
3.1版本为例，我们
We reduced the number of enemies in maps.
剥离了
Dude, hold up. I gotta yap about this real quick. I gotta yap about this real quick. So there was a point where you were with the one dude, the guy who got the core flame, and Mighty. I can't remember the guy's name. This snowy guy, right? And you were in a competition of getting the most like little emblem things from the enemies that you beat. Now I have Acheron, which means I can just insta-kill. And I think there were only a couple like story-driven fights that forced me to actually go into combat. It was like maybe 3 times. It still felt like it took a long time, and I was just instant murking. Okay? If you didn't have Acheron, like if you just started in 3.0, and you had to fight all of those things, dude, to make sure that you beat Mighty, brother, I'm telling you, that was like a 90-minute endeavor. And that would have taken players so long if they couldn't just insta nuke. You know what I mean? So I get it. I understand they're trying to do a story thing, but the execution of it just feels really bad. And the reason why I thought it felt really bad was ultimately because you were going to have to come back to these areas to get like new chests and other areas that had opened up off the side of the main quest areas, right? And they've done that every single time so far. So why is the story progression so gridlocked when you got to come back and do the other puzzle mechanics within the environment anyway? Which is why I'm like, why are we going through the overworld tutorials during the story when we're going to have to come back and do it again anyway? In addition to all the backtracking and the running around and stuff, it felt so overly tedious. It took me out of the actual story. And if you watch my 3.0 story VOD, you will see me slowly start to lose my mind after like hour 6 or 7. And it's just a slow regression of like, oh my God, please stop talking. There was a point, I think in the final hour, where I just started skipping lines and I was speed reading it. I wasn't waiting for the lines to be spoken out. Because I was just like, dude, when does this is crazy. So I'm glad that they're addressing that, because that is without a doubt one of the worst things they can do to keep you involved in the story. I think in their minds they were trying to create a very immersive experience and really put you in the world. But at the same time, it was so tedious that it took me out of the world, because I was so hyper focused on getting through the mechanics and like doing all the little things in the overworld during the story. That's great when you're not trying to progress a storyline, right? Because you want to know what comes next, what's going to happen next. But like, get the environment in like immersion after the story. Go back, explore the routes, find hidden little corridors or whatever. Let that be your immersive experience. Let the story be what it is. And help the players get to the story faster. You don't have to release a 12-hour story every patch. And again, Amphorius is going every 3.x version. You don't have to have, half a day in story just to make it seem like, oh, look how involved it is. You could tell a really good, involved story, but be concise about it. And whether the story is 10 hours long or 3 hours long, as long as it is well written and your audience is not, frankly, put off or agitated by the way in which they have to experience the story, it's going to be well received. And they can write good story. They can. But when they're trying to merge it into this overworld exploration stuff, they absolutely fell flat. And that is by far my biggest gripe with 3.0. So I'm glad they're addressing that.
希望保证谜题与剧情的结合更加紧密，且不至有很强的打断感。在原本的设计中，地图中有几处扎格列斯之手玩法，开拓者需要多次切换操作视角，但其实只是。
Also, it's really sick you can punch stuff with a giant hand. I just want to point that out.
这样的设计不仅繁琐，也没有很强的趣味性。
And not particularly fun. Yes. Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
我们意识到这样的设计不仅繁琐，
The design was cumbersome
也没有很强。
and not particularly fun. Bro, thank you. I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like I was insane. I have never felt more seen right now in a freaking video game. And the whole time I was doing the record, I was like, man, I feel like people are going to flame me for this, dude. I seriously hope nobody's like, I'm not going to get like, Hoyo Defender just bombarding me with stuff. I'm so glad that this was a universal thing. We as a player base, I'm glad we're collectively in sync on this, man. That's crazy. We've removed the less engaging elements from the main story. Yes. Thank you. Yes, those are cool. I like those. Do you know why the hand puzzles are dope, by the way? Because the hand is meant ultimately to get through, broken bridges or stacks of boxes that are blocking your path. The hand is meant to guide you forward on a path to continue the story. And that's a good thing. And it doesn't involve a lot of backtracking, typically. Typically, it does not involve a lot of backtracking. The one thing I could say is that perhaps make the little hand activation podium thing like more frequent throughout the particular map so that you can access it from different points more easily. So you can do crazy stuff with the hand, okay? That's my only gripe on the hand puzzle thing. Other than that, it's dope. You can even punch enemies so you don't have to fight them. That's sick. I like that a lot. The hand thing is cool. I'm glad they're keeping that. I'm glad we all universally like the hand thing. Just to make it more accessible throughout the map.
能让开拓者更好地探索魔法螺丝，享受解谜乐趣。同时，也欢迎开拓者提出更多的建议和反馈。
Thanks, Project Team. All right.
W.
That brings us to the end of today's special
W.
Any final thoughts from our guests?
W Project Team update.
I hope everyone enjoys
I know that
learning
they had
the
put out a little
information in
bulletin.
Boris's story.
I read it. I got the gist of it.
With all of
I
you.
didn't make a video on it or anything because I wanted to see if it was just talk. Frankly, I didn't think it would be because I trust the Star Rail dev team for the most part. Like when they say they're going to do something, they typically
And
deliver.
Of course, there are plenty of chimeras waiting for us to lead them.
I'm so glad they took, and it's quick. It's quick turnaround too.
And now the version 3.1 special program has come to an end. That's a wrap. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Farewell.
Oh, is that it? That's it. Okay. All right. So the quality of life stuff is great. The fact that they took the story feedback and are immediately addressing it, also great. I am still relatively unsure that the actual content of 3.1 is going to be enough to compete with everything else that's going on right now. Genshin's a dead patch from what I've heard. I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm not exactly in a hurry to either for what it's worth. But Wuthering Waves has a pretty in-depth update. They added a whole new game mode. The story obviously is continuing at a very good pace. During the last version preview program thing, we got a complete outline of up to, I think, 2.3 or 4. Is a daily antiques appraisal event and like a Chimera work simulator event. Like, is that enough? The simulated universe update seems cool, but at the same time, they implemented a guide process to like fast track you through things. I don't know. I don't know. I may just have a slightly more sour opinion on things just because the 3.0 story sat so poorly with me in the way that they executed going through it. So I am hoping content being what it is for 3.1, it does not feel like that much, to be honest. But they did update SimUni, right? Or I guess Divergent Universe. So that again, typically they have lower content amount when they do like bigger updates for that mode. I'm hoping, praying that them fixing the progression stuff for traversing the maps and going through the story in each update, making that better. I'm hoping that brings me back in, genuinely. It's still good, but like I'm not as enthralled with it as I was in previous versions, right? And I do have a Penacony bias. I think the 2.0 stuff, the 2.0 through 2.3, I think was the main Penacony arc. I think all that was insane. It was so good. And I'm biased towards that. But I'm hoping they can bring me back. And I am willing and open to see if that can be done. So I am still with a little bit of skepticism looking forward to 3.1. I will still be playing it. I will put the story up on the VODs channel. You can check that out if you are interested. And yeah, that's that. That's this. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.